Hi, good afternoon, Sandy. How are you today?
I'm fine, Diana. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thanks for being here.
Cool.
Sandy Ciaramitaro is one of our inspiring storytellers for the third act Quest Stories in October. And I wanted to have you have a chance to meet her and hear a little bit about her journey and her quest across her life. She has taught morality, ethics, and social justice courses in a private high school in Michigan. In addition to her amazing teaching career, she's also developed programs and curricula helping children realize the importance of living altruistic lives centered on love. I'll have her tell you a little bit about a series of books that she created more recently in the last 10 years? When did you start the Good Egg series?
The first one came out in 2013, but I started 2 years prior to that. So started writing about 2011.
Oh, that's fantastic. So I'll reserve, I won't tell you too much. I'll let her tell you about this series of children's books. And also, just the knowing that what her purpose behind this has been sort of in her all along, but is to really help kids learn about different virtues and diversity and having a sense of service, all so essential to all of our lives. The other thing that we're going to ask you to tell us a little bit about is the Good Eggs Foundation. You do a lot of amazing, so that's come out of the book series. So first, if you don't mind sharing the impetus, the idea, and a little bit about the books.
Sure. Thanks, Diana. So the Good Eggs book series, actually, I always wanted to write a children's book, but it took a while to get there with, as we were speaking before, life and everything going on. Finally, in 2011, my kids were at a good grown age, and I said, I'm going to write that book. I knew it was still in me. So I wanted it to be a teaching book, something about goodness, kindness, compassion. So I threw around the word good in my head and came up with Good Eggs. Oh, I'm going to make the characters eggs. I'm going to have, 3 boys, 3 girls. They all have egg in their name. There's some cute little egg puns throughout the book. Their teacher's name is Miss Poach. So it's very fun. And I ended up structuring it like a school year. So they go back to school in September, and each month is a chapter. So September is the first chapter, October the second. And each month they learn a new virtue. So like generosity and gratitude and forgiveness and respect and understanding. There's 12 in all. And at the end of the book, Benedict, who's kind of the problem egg in the group, ends up learning quite a lot from his friends about just how to have that inner goodness. So I thought that was it. But once I finished that book, I knew I had to do more with the characters. So I took them around the world and went to 10 different countries, and they learned customs and language and landmarks, and they made relationships with little friends in other parts of the world. And they, at the end of that book, they learned that the world is really full of good eggs, right? That everyone wants to just be loved and heard and understood and respected and live in peace. The majority of people want that. So they learned all that from their travels. So that took another year, and that was structured the same way, September through August. So then I still wasn't finished with them. And I said, all right, one more book. They're coming back home, and they're going to stay in their hometown and learn the importance of community service. So these chapters, there are only 6, a half a dozen, but they're kind of twice as long, but they're really interesting too. They help kids in their community. They go to an elder care center. They go to a food bank. They go to an animal shelter. They go to a nature center. They learn everything there is that goes within a community and how they can give part of themselves back to their community. And they also contact the little eggs around the world that they met in book 2. And those little eggs do the same service in their communities. So it reaches far and wide. So once I wrote that last page, I cried, right? Because I knew I was done with them, but I just was really happy with the whole trilogy. So that's been a real joy to write, develop the characters and, bring all kinds of situations to them.
So one of the things we can share too. Oh, actually, I see the books behind you. Can you put put one up to the screen? Because I want people to see these beautiful little faces.
So this is the first book, The Good Eggs.
Oh my
And
gosh.
then this is the second one, The Good Eggs Travel the World.
Oh my gosh.
And then this is the third one, The Good Eggs in the Community. So they're chapter books, but there are pictures as well. So like, for example, here's a picture of Benedict. His dog almost got run over, and it ended up, he was saved. But, there's all kinds of pictures in these books too. So they're really fun. They're really a fun series, and the kids will learn a lot.
Well, I think anyone could learn a lot. I mean, by,
with adults reading with them as well, for sure.
Well, and that's what I was going to say, the opportunities for interaction between generations, grandmas and kids and, other family members. That's wonderful.
Yes.
Okay. So then that wasn't enough for you.
No, so this project keeps getting bigger and bigger. So I just was like, all right, I would do book shows, go into schools, do little presentations and things like that. And I just kept having this feeling like there's more to this. And I finally said, I'm going to open a nonprofit. So that's what I did, which is a lot to do, more than I've been learning a lot along the way. You have to look up what's all the government rules and all of that. So it was a lot to open it. But
on top of being a teacher,
working full time. Yes, right. But that's how much I knew I loved it, because teaching is all encompassing. It takes over your whole life. Because even at night you're checking papers and everything, but I still had to make time for this because I knew I wanted it to be forefront in my life. So I decided, since the books are for kids, that the nonprofit would be to help children. So once I got that paper from the IRS, it said, you've been approved. Yay. So I was able to start. So I gathered a little board, and, we had a meeting and brainstormed. I gave them my ideas, and they gave me some ideas. So what I do is each month, because the books go by months, so I want to keep this by month, I egg an organization. So I want to keep the phrasing all consistent. So I egg an organization that has to do with children, or sometimes it's a family. Sometimes people will call me and say, can you egg this family because they've fallen on some hard times? Or it might be an organization. Like I said, we've done mittens for kids. We've done baby monitors for a foster closet. I've done bedding for a man who builds beds for kids coming out of homeless shelters. I've done over 30 eggings because the foundation started in 2019. So each month, I haven't missed a month yet. So I'm going to do diapers for a woman who has started a teen mom, young girls who have children, like 15, 16, very young girls. And she started a nonprofit to get them like GEDs, back in school, and get them the support they need. So she said they always need diapers. So I'm going to egg her with big boxes of diapers. So it just depends. Every month is different, which is what I like too. It's something different. And I'm meeting so many different people, amazing people running nonprofits.
So you're spreading, the effect of what they are already doing. You're enabling them to do what they do, which is beautiful. You're not trying to replace, just basically facilitating. So how is your fundraising going? Do you, how are you getting the funds that you need to do so?
Book sales is a big part of it. So that's something we truly appreciate. Book sales, most of the net profits go right toward the foundation for the eggings. I have actually some busy things coming up this month. I have a book show in Northville, Michigan. It's a big, it's called Buy Michigan Now Fest. It's all local artists and crafters. So that'll fund some egging.
Oh, fantastic.
I have another delicious one coming up called the Cannoli Festa. So we have a really awesome family that I know. They own an Italian bakery. So last year we did Cannoli Festa, and a portion of each cannoli goes to the Good Eggs Foundation. So
Oh
we're
my
doing it
gosh.
again this year, and you should see cannolis everywhere. People are buying them like crazy. It's so fun. So
Oh
that's coming up too. I also am in another book show in September. It's in Ann Arbor, Michigan here. It's called Cary Town Book Fest. So I'm going to be participating in that. We have a challenge right now. I'm in the Rocket Mortgage Community Challenge, where there's nonprofits in there and people can log on and just donate, like $5, $10.
oh,
Yeah, so
fantastic.
that starts today at noon, actually.
All right.
So,
Rocket Mortgage has it. Well, that's what I was going to say.
yeah,
Your model is a beautiful model that as more and more people find out about you, it
right,
could be interesting to see the effect you
right.
could have further and further. How about the book distribution? So how, are you distributed through, obviously through your website, which I will include when we're
Right.
promoting this event, but can people go to bookstores to find your
No,
book yet?
no,
Not
they are
yet.
on Amazon.
Oh,
So
good. Good.
Amazon and Ingram Spark as well, but I think most people probably go to Amazon. So
Right.
the link on my website, if you go under books and it'll say purchase now, if you click that, it goes right to the Amazon page.
Wonderful.
So yeah, that's the easiest, I think, for people.
Well, for me to know that as a gift I can give someone is not only going to be a wonderful gift for that family or that child, but to know that it also is benefiting
You're going to be
exponentially is
helping.
just
Yeah,
wonderful.
you're going to be helping others. So
Thanks
yeah,
for what
that's
you
the
do.
bonus. So
Well, so let's talk a little bit more about you. We know that you embody all the virtues that the good eggs do. I can just see that in you. Um, I know that we'll hear a little bit more about your story
right.
and your quest in October, but give us a little bit of an understanding of how this, I would call it a calling, occurred to you and when you were really young.
Very, very young. You start being aware of yourself. I would say I was about 10. And I always loved my imagination. I have a very vivid imagination, and I always loved writing stories in school, creating stories out of words that our teachers would give us. We would read them in front of the class, and people would respond to them. So I just loved thinking of situations to put characters in. It was just something, I guess, that was in me at a young age. And I always thought it would be so cool to write a book, and I loved books. So that imagination always was with me, but I have to say I was sparked at a young age by listening to my music, to records, spinning 45s on my bed. And the song Imagine by John Lennon is still one of my favorites today. And that got me thinking of the wider world. That's probably the first spark I thought of. Oh, there's more out there than just me and school and my friends and my neighborhood, right? You start becoming aware of the wider world. So I was glad to feel an imagination constant in my life. So as I grew up, I could still use my imagination to imagine a better world. So I think I combined my two passions of writing and imagination, right? With imagination helping the world. So hopefully things take off and get bigger so I can do even bigger eggings. I would love to
Oh, I love
build
it.
playgrounds for, underserved schools, and I would love to do bigger eggings for people.
So as
Stations.
we call this storytelling series Third Act Quest,
Yeah.
you are, I can just see how grateful you are that over the course of your life, that inspiration to imagine and share stories didn't stay buried inside you. You brought it out, and you've unleashing it on the world. And it sounds like you've got so many amazing plans moving forward.
I've got a lot of visions with this. So yeah, I hope they all pan out.
I believe they will. I think that's one of the things that I love when I see and the impact you can have on young children, and knowing that they are our hope for this world,
Exactly.
and feeling, the need to be connected with people of different cultures, the need to understand the importance of kindness and love. I mean, you
And
can't.
that we all have that common goal, just because another culture might do something a different way, it doesn't mean it's wrong, right? Like that they just can understand, oh, that's what that means, or oh, I understand that, and that's cool. That's okay that people are different, that it's good that people are different.
Well, and also the time that I'm sure, what is the reading age typically for these books?
So typically third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade. It depends on the reading level of the child, of course. And I have had like first grade teachers read to their class.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I've had them. The one teacher wrote me and said they couldn't wait to come in after recess to find out what the eggs were going to be up to, because that was their time when they read the good eggs. So yeah, it just depends on the reading level of each child, but typically third, fourth, fifth graders fit right into that, so that's why I put 5 to 12 years old on my range on the Amazon page, because it just depends on the child.
Well, that's such a formative time, as you say,
Yes.
where young children don't recognize differences until
Right.
about that age, where they start
Right.
having fear of things that people that
Right.
are different from themselves. Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to start. Although I teach high school, I wanted to start with younger children, because that's when they're really being formed, right, at that young age. And they're like sponges, right? They mimic everything we do. They listen to everything we say. So that's the time, if they can incorporate these concepts within their little person, then it will grow with them when they grow into a big person, right? And it'll be part of their natural way. That's the hope.
Well, it's such a wonderful thing to speak to somebody who's able to sort of pull together all the threads that were inspired very early into something that is now your ability to give back and give outward to others. So thank you. So one last final question I'll ask you is, if I were to say, hey, Sandy, can you design a bumper sticker that completely and it sort of incorporates or your philosophy about life, what would it be?
I just love the Maya Angelou quote, and it says something like this: "The purpose of life is to love. We are here to love, and that's what life is for." That's what I try to live by, because it's true. It's very true.
It is true.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to hear you tell your story in a little bit more detail, because I think it's very inspiring. It
Thank you.
sometimes takes a lot of courage or a lot of hard work
Mhm.
to bring these passions that we have forward when we're working or when we have other
Right.
responsibilities with families.
Yes.
So, I just really can't wait to hear you share your story in October. So thanks, and have a beautiful day.
Thanks, you too. Looking forward to it.